What if I told you a single anomaly in 1990 rewrote our entire reality? Tonight, we're talking about yesterday's Enterprise.
This is Late Night Fringe.
You're listening to Late Night Fringe, and I'm your host, June Florence. This is a space dedicated to exploring everything on the edge of reality, spirituality, alternate timelines, the unexplained, and whatever else comes our way in the dark. Tonight, we are starting at the very beginning, the moment you realize your reality might just be a construct. What if I told you a single anomaly in 1990 rewrote our entire reality? All right. Yesterday's Enterprise. Yesterday I watched what did I watch? Yesterday I watched season 3, episode 15, Yesterday's Enterprise on Star Trek. Now, I'm a Trekkie through and through. I was introduced by it as a child. I don't remember how old I was, but my older sister, was a Trekkie. And I remember I actually don't remember the exact moment that I was captivated by Star Trek: The Next Generation and or sci-fi. I mean, Back to the Future is my favorite movie. I do think not only is it the perfect script, um, but it's also the perfect film. If you know, then you know. But I I've always been attracted to sci-fi. For example, I do have vivid memories and I don't remember much. I do remember some bits and details about my childhood, but I really don't remember too much about it. But I do have vivid memories of drawing. My doodling as a child was drawing tesseracts. And it wasn't honestly, and this, some of you may judge me, and go ahead if you do, rightfully so. Um, it wasn't until I was in my early 30s that I knew that what I was drawing, that I correlated what I drew as diddling, or not diddling, that is the wrong word. Um, but doodling, thank you. But what I drew as doodling, I drew like flowers and all of that stuff as a kid, but s- a majority of my doodles were tesseracts. And so when I learned that that's what I was drawing, I remember it. I was like driving somewhere in West Hollywood. It was a sunny day. It's as vivid to me as like 9/11. I've lived through 9/11. I was only 3 blocks away, and that's a story for another day. But I remember it vividly. And I thought, wow, that's a connection. That's a clue. Scooby Doo, where are you? As I look over to my Great Dane, who's you can probably hear growling in the background, because he's playing. But anyway, I thought, wow, that is interesting. Ever since I was a child, I've been fascinated with sci-fi, with the stars, with time travel, with just this innate feeling that there is something else out there, that there's something more, that there's something inside of me or something about the way I experience life or the truth of this universe. But there's something more that is calling me, or that I need to remember, or that I need to explore. There's something about the adventure and explorer aspect of Star Trek, but also there's a better way for humanity um aspect of Star Trek that I love, that lore of us as a human race having overcome this very lack of a better word, immature, childish, um, instinct, base instinct nature of war, of hate, of separatism, of parties, of everything that we've invested in and tackled and said, yes, this is our reality. I've always known that or had this innate sense that this reality that has been presented to us, whether it's school, and I say this with a grain of salt, like I was never the child that gave my parents any issues. By 8 o'clock, I would um look at the time and go, all right, I'm going to bed, and I was what, 7, 8. I mean, I was sharing a story with my friend the other day, with my best friend, that I remember cooking in the kitchen. Also, I'm the child of baby boomers, and I'm a millennial, an Oregon Trail millennial, and so we were just pretty much raised to be very independent, unlike much of the generation. It was a different time. I'm not throwing salt or shade, but these younger kids, sometimes I do get very baffled at the amount of independence that they have and are given to them. Um, but I also grew up in the age where, like, my siblings and cousins who are like my siblings' ages, who my siblings are like 5 to 8 years older than me, and they were, if I was 5, like 10 or 9, walking to the store to buy their parents cigarettes, right? So different time, very different times, but those are the times that I grew up in. And so I just remember cooking at 5. I remember just, I was an easy kid. So I just remember having all the independence um in the world. Sorry, I have to pause. My dogs are totally distracting me. Of course, when I'm trying to do something, they decide they have all the other rooms in the house and they decide to come to me to do a tug of war of their toy. Pause. So all that to say is, I'm back. My dogs are outside, quiet, so maybe I can think for a few minutes. But I was very independent. So yes, I would put myself to bed, and um, followed the rules. Even though I followed the rules, I'm trying to say that I followed the rules. I was a kid that didn't really give problems to my parents, and like, even though I always felt something was off, I still strived to get an A, or to be on honor roll, or to get into the best Ivy League. So there still was that part of me that was very grounded, or played the game in this world. However, when I watch, which brings me back to yesterday's Enterprise, which to me is one of Star Trek's best episodes ever. I'm currently rewatching it, and when excuse me, when Guinan, when they're so I guess maybe I should give you a brief background or synopsis of this episode. So yesterday's Enterprise takes place obviously in the Star Trek world, and they enter a wormhole, or it's just an anomaly that shows up at the top of the episode, and um their sensors are picking up something, and then we're on the captain's deck, and within a moment, everything shifts, right? So it starts off with Guinan, with Worf, and then we go to the Enterprise, the deck, the captain's deck, where all the main principles are, and then we switch universes and we switch worlds, and then we cut back to Guinan, who, the cliffhanger of the episode, she says, "This isn't right," or "Something's not right." And so they switch timelines. And so the entire episode, she senses that something is off, much like the sense that I've experienced my entire life, that something is off. Like, when I would play, I would play and speak to the other me. I mean, who does that? I would, and I don't even think anyone taught me the concept of parallel universes, but I knew that there was another me out there, and in some versions she looked completely different than me, but I would play and leave messages or leave telepathic messages. I mean, and that is just coming back up, just even speaking about it and speaking to you about it. So, this is a feeling when she said that, it was like, boom, an innate remembering or like, and even in talking about it, it's this knowing. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's how do you know when you're in love? How can you describe love? Right? It's you can't really describe it. You can put all these pretty poetry pictures or pull up a sonnet, right? However, it's just a feeling that you know, it is a knowing, right? Like a mother loves their child, or like you love your husband or your partner or your wife or your girlfriend. It's just an innate, deep knowing. And that's the best way I can describe it. It's something that I've always grown up with, something that I've always felt. And so when she said that throughout the episode, the feeling gets stronger and stronger. And she just until she knows that this world is not right. This there's something wrong with this world. And quite often as I'm getting older, I am also realizing that whomever, I don't know if it's the powers that be, and you can call me conspiracy theorist or whatever. I at this point I don't care. All I know is, and it's this innate feeling that I have, is that this world is off. This is not right. I do believe in timelines. I do believe that there have been clues. I do believe that there's something that I need to remember, but I can't remember. And so I've tried all of these different things and have not yet been successful. I am working on something that I don't know if I'm ready to reveal it just yet, but I am working on something that I hope will lead me to the truth of all things. I know that sounds cryptic, right? I don't know. Have you ever felt that way? Do you believe in timelines? Do you believe in parallel universes? Were you also a kid that drew tesseracts? And also, were you a kid that hardly remembers their childhood? I really would like to know because all I know is that I'm living in a world where something feels off, and we can say, yes, it feels like the world is ending and all the political violence, which of course to me is madness, and everything, and all the hunger and and some people might say the environment and etc. Yes, yes, and yes. That, or some people might even say throughout human history, it's always been in a disarray. It's just that the information age and technology just brings it all to our front. Yes, yes, and yes, and okay, yes. However, it is that same feeling that when you are in love with someone, where you love someone, and if you're fortunate enough to know that feeling, right? We can put all these airy words to it. We can put all these descriptive words to it, but you just know. You know. When know, you know. And if you know, you know. Anyway, but you just know. Deep down, without a shadow of a doubt. And that is the best way I can describe it. I am not saying that maybe my memory is bad, who knows? And that's why I don't remember my childhood. Maybe. And if you were to ask my family, they probably would say yes. So some of you in the comments might be like, yes, yes. It's just your memory is terrible. Um, but I can't shake this feeling. And no, I was never a part of any gifted programs, because I went to private schools for most of my life. I did end up graduating from a public school, but I and eh, when did I get there? My junior year or senior year in high school. So, um, I was put in like AP classes, but not particularly any gifted program. Um, so I'm not even gonna put myself out there. I have had experiences. I've personally have seen UFOs, um, maybe about 20, but it has been a good chunk, maybe a decade since I've seen my last set. Um, I have had I mean, I'm Haitian, so I've definitely have had some spiritual, um, experiences in my life, 100%. And, yeah, but I mean, I don't test well, like, the SATs and all of that. I was never someone that tested well in standardized tests. So, I'm gonna say probably I was never put in the gifted program. Um, but yeah, all that to say is, what do you feel? Have you had experiences? Please be kind in the comments. And I know even though I'm saying that, some of you are not. This is scary to put myself out there, but we're gonna do it. Um, but I'm a novice in this sci-fi world. I watch all of the UFO YouTube channels like Area 52, the Y Files. I probably have seen them all, but those are just mostly what YouTube is pushing out there to me, an algorithm, and I keep just typing into YouTube and into ChatGPT and into Google and Gemini. You have it. I'm not an algorithm. But anyway, I feel like I'm ranting. But please leave me a comment if you've experienced this yourself. Were you a kid like myself that drew Tesseracts? And I think there's more to this world. And I think I want to dedicate this channel to really discovering what that is. Until next time. Actually, before we completely sign off, that innate feeling, that deep knowing that something is just a little bit off, is exactly what we are going to keep uncovering here. If you ever have your own story of a timeline shift, a moment where reality just didn't make sense, or if you ever felt the trees shift and the world reset under your feet like I did last Sunday, I want to hear it. Leave it in the comments or call and leave a voicemail on our Late Night Fringe transmission line at 407 536 7414. That's 407 536 7414. I'll be sharing and reacting to some of your stories in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, June Florence. Stay curious and good night.
Tune in if you dare. This is Late Night Fringe.